So you've been praying to God, God, give me this, God, give me that. You didn't tell God, God, I want this. You didn't gave him ultimatums. You didn't done everything. You didn't cry. You done been on your knees. You've been using prayer or all of this stuff. And God just told you to get started. Just that simple. All you had to do was get started, and everything that you desire and everything that you need is going to make way for you. Welcome to the Arian Helm Show. My name is Arian Helm. I am your hostess with the mostest. And I'm back, y'all. Hey, how y'all doing? I'm so excited to be back here in front of the camera on this platform. I feel like I miss y'all. I feel like I miss talking on the camera, and it has been a long time coming. During this time away, I think I have been gone about 4.5 years. I have learned so much about myself. I've learned about purpose. I've learned about persevering. I've learned about life. I've learned about being a woman. I've learned about myself, most importantly. And today I want to talk about just get started. A lot of people are like praying for a miracle and praying for a breakthrough. They're like, oh God, I want to change my life and I want to do better. I want to do this. I want that. I have this desire. But honestly, the key to leveling up, the key to getting to success, the key to getting the things that you want, and the key to changing your life overall is to just get started. When I first came onto the Arian Helm Show back in 2018, I had this idea to do a talk show. Now, mind you, I didn't know anybody that had ever done a talk show podcast. I probably hadn't even watched a podcast at the time. The only thing I knew about talk show was Oprah and Wendy Williams, okay? Those were the only two I had to model off of. Now, on that college budget, I didn't have Oprah money. I didn't have that. I barely had any money at that time. But I was like, I'm going to start a talk show. And it's crazy because I just started researching. And then I was taking a class, and this class was a part of electronic media. And they taught us how to interview people, how to make a website, how to code a website, how to do social media marketing. They taught us everything, right? But beyond the class, okay, right? I was like, you know what, let me go online and see what I need. And when I looked up how to start a talk show, it just said you need a camera, you need segments, or you need something to talk about with the talk show, and then you need people to interview. I was like, oh, okay, that's, I know a few people here at the school. I don't have a camera, but I do have an iPhone, which, will suffice. But where am I going to go? What's crazy, after I did that, I don't remember exactly the timeline, but once I did the research, this guy on Instagram DM'd me. He was a Texas State baby, he went to Texas State. And I was telling him what I want to do or whatever, and I don't know why I told him this because he was a complete stranger at the time. And he told me, he was like, well, Texas State has a media room in the library. What? Now, if you know Texas State, baby, we stayed on the fourth floor. That's where Olive was at, on the fourth floor. So I go to the library and I go to the front desk. I'm like, hey, I heard you got a media room. Like, I can record videos. And the girl was like, yeah, we have a green screen room. It's downstairs. So, mind you, never been downstairs. I went to the library to chill. Did I study? Subjective. But I went downstairs. Behold you not, it was 2 media rooms, okay? And I was like, what? But get this, not only did I have a space to where I could record my episodes, they had a camera. Not only did they have a camera, but they had it set up to where you just press record and then they send the videos right to you. I didn't have to buy a Sims card. I didn't have to buy no lights. I didn't have to buy anything. It was all right there. When you get started, God will order your steps. All you have to do is make an effort to what he placed on your heart. Mind you, like I said, I never knew anybody that did a talk show. I never knew anybody that was in media, okay? Both of my parents were criminal justice focused, throughout their careers. And so I didn't know anybody who did podcasting and things like that. But throughout learning about talk shows, throughout just getting started, I started to meet people. People started to DM me. And then the rest is history. Now, looking back 4.5 years later, I started that talk show. I was 20 years old. I am now 26 years old. This talk show has literally given me a sense of purpose. It has changed how I look at myself. When you get started, it might not end up how you wanted or desire, but it's going to end up how you need it to be. Okay, when I first started this, I thought I was just gonna have fun. I thought I was gonna be gossiping. I thought I was gonna be talking about all of the trendy topics, and I did do that, like my season 1 and then a little bit of season 2. But throughout the years, and since I've taken a long hiatus, I have learned that I am much better speaker when it comes to purpose, when it comes to sharing my story and sharing how I have been figuring out life. And that's exactly what this talk show is going to be going. So when you get started, you're not going to have all of the answers, but how you get the answers is just by going out and doing the things. A lot of people believe that when God puts this idea or a thought into your head, you're supposed to question it, and then they go and tell this person that tells this person, and they wonder and question, like, would I be good enough, or how does this fit into my life? And not knowing that when God placed it into your heart, when you had that thought, that was the confirmation right there. You don't need to ask God, like, God, is it for me? The fact that you even thought about that, it means it's for you. And it's as simple as that. It doesn't matter what you want to do. It don't matter if you think about going to college. It don't matter if you think about starting a business. It don't matter if you think about jumping to a different career. The fact that you had that placed on your heart is everything that you need to know, and confirmation that you just need to get started. When you do your part, I guarantee you, God is going to do his. You take one step, he'll take 30. Easily. You see this right here? That is my first article. I got an article written about me at my Texas State University literally 3 months within starting my talk show. And the girl who did the article was like, oh yeah, you're the first person we've ever covered that has their own podcast, like the first student. And I was like, what? Not me making history. But when you get started, he will literally order your steps. And so when people talk about how you can change your mindset and to succeed and all of this stuff, the key to changing your mindset about your life and about the results and things that you need is just by getting started. When you get started, you will eventually develop and embody the person that you need to be to maintain the blessing, but you will also change how you view things, how you view life. You will naturally elevate when you just get started. But when you're looking at it from out here and you supposed to be here getting started, you can't see. You too busy outside of the club, and you supposed to be in the club. You supposed to be in the club and you're outside because you ain't want to get started. Right now, it's been, I said, 4.5, maybe 5 years. I think my last episode was December 2019. January 2020, I was like, oh yes, I'm gonna get started. I ain't had no money. I didn't have a job. I was staying at my mom's house. I had just graduated, moved back in with my mom in Fort Worth, Texas. I didn't have anywhere to film. I didn't have any space in my bedroom. And I was like, okay, God, I'm gonna get an office space. Let me work to save up for an office space. I worked a little bit. February, March came, and the pandemic happened. What? God, you just told me that I'm supposed to start my talk show, so I'm getting a little traction. People are watching me. I got a few subscribers. People are DMing me how they love my talk show. What's going on, God? March happens, pandemic. April, pandemic. May, pandemic. Okay, God, I guess I'm supposed to put this on the back burner. So I started focusing on other things, and I started focusing on my career, getting money, all this other stuff, and nothing just seemed to pan out for me. And then time went on, and then by 2021, I was focused on the gym and things like that. 2022, I was like, okay, God, I'm ready to start, but I just had this self-doubt. I had this doubt I'm not ready. I'm not ready, although God kept telling me, you're ready. You've already done it. What are you scared for? But I was like, oh, God, I'm second guessing. And God was like, you ready? I was like, nah, I'm not ready. Went into a deep depression. Then I ate my way into 30, 40 pounds gains. And I really wasn't about to get on this camera in front of y'all, okay? Since then, I have lost that weight that I had from the depression, and I have gone into a whole new mindset. And I realized that I could have got started then, but sometimes we second guess ourselves. All of the things that I just said that I went through, it made me a stronger person for sure. But it's still no excuse. I still could have got started through those things. But yet I was self-conscious. I was doubting myself. I was doubting my ability. I was like, ooh, I don't have the background and I don't have the studio space. I don't have this. But I still could have got started. Because like I said, I had an iPhone. I had lights at the time. So I had no excuse as to why I could not do the episode. We're 4.5 years later, I finally found the courage to get in front of the camera and talk and just give the wisdom that God has given me after all these years of doubting myself, of feeling like I wasn't ready, feeling worthy-less. Is that a word? Worthy-less? Less worthy? I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But just not feeling it. And I'm thinking like, dang, all of this time I wasted second guessing myself when I was ready. How can I know that I'm not ready if I don't get ready, if I don't put myself out there? You know, like I spent all of this time in hiding. And a lot of times we do that. We hide, we make up all these excuses as to why, oh, I can't do this, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. But honestly, like, if it's there on your heart, that's all the confirmation you need. That's all of the confirmation you need. It's just to get started right then and there. And I was so afraid of getting started because it just seemed like an obstacle. But there's always going to be obstacles. There's always going to be bumps in the road. There's always going to be a better you that could get started. But why not develop yourself and learn by getting started, and then you will automatically get to that better you. If you don't get started on what you want and what you desire and your goals, then you'll never know what it takes to get to that person. You'll always be in this state of desiring. But when you start to do the work and you start to become and embody and develop yourself, then you are not only going towards and making motion to your goal, but you are developing yourself to become the person that gets to that goal.
Everybody's hey.
I would have been here on time if I hadn't got stopped at the gas station.
Okay, was he cute?
Hey, he was fine.
Hey.
Guys that pick up ladies, especially at the gas station, they only want one thing.
This reminds me of a book I read once. It was about this beautiful young lady.
Aren't you Jade Sheldon? Yeah.
The video star.
If a guy walks up to you and asks you to be with him for a certain amount of money, would any of you do it?
I have somebody I would like for you to meet.
Oh, that sounds ridiculous.
This is what you will get.
How much we talking? Say $1 million?
Just as long as you keep this confidential.
Think about it. Retiring a multi-millionaire?
Imagine all the things I could buy.
Girl, I'm in the wrong profession.
You gonna choke your woman because you acting like a bitch and
I'll just say, Jen,
I'm falling in love with you.
Don't do this right now.
it's about protecting that lifestyle. Ooh.
It's been 6 months, and why haven't you officially put me on?
We're good.
We're good?
I just wanted to tell you, I'm 2 months pregnant.
What?
she had a baby?
It was for her mom, okay?
You would really sit there and sleep with that man for clout and money?
It has to be the right amount.
Okay, y'all calm down.
That's all. This is a hot mess.
Cheers.
Where there are 2 dead, 1 in critical condition.
Okay, so now you like, Arian, I got it. I'm gonna get started. I know now that God gave me this idea, this thought, this passion, this creativity for a reason. So he wants me to go after it. Okay, so like, what exactly do I do? And I talked about how I just got into research. I got on Google. Everybody got access to Google. And I just researched, okay, how do you start a talk show? And for your case, you might be able to do the same. Go on TikTok, go on Google, go on Instagram, how to, blah, blah, blah. Even you can go on YouTube nowadays and figure out how to do that. Now, once you get more information and insight into what you want to do, now you need to create a clear and concise plan. When I said I was coming back to the show, I said, okay, I'm going to post this many times a week. This is how I'm going to market my video, and these are the topics that I'm going to go about. Before I get in front of the camera, I write out one page on the topic that I'm writing about. Today was just getting started, and it helps me to clearly flow out my ideas, okay, to be able to speak in front of the camera to you all. And now I have a plan. So now I know every week I need to write a one-page paper on the subject, and then I need to post once a week. That is my plan. To market, I'm going to post maybe 2 to 3 times a week on different platforms, and boom, that's how you get started. Now, who's to say that I'm going to stick to this plan 2-3 months from now, because it could be a totally different circumstance. I might be like, okay, boom, we popped it. Now we're gonna make 3 videos a week, or we gonna make 5. It just, you have to stick to a plan now. It's okay to be an amateur. It's okay to be a rookie at whatever it is that you're doing. It can be embarrassing, especially when you get to a certain age of starting over or starting something new, because you're like, dang, I feel so behind. But don't be afraid to be the newbie of whatever it is that you're trying to do. Don't be afraid to, you know, be a freshman, be a rookie. That's what helps you, because you're going in with the open mind, but you're also going in with the help of God. And also knowing that you're moving in purpose, because again, if it was placed on your heart, that means you are moving to some type of purpose. But more importantly, when you're making your plan and you're writing down your goals and you're being clear and concise, I don't want you to stick to a certain aspect. Like, let me use an example, okay? Say, for instance, God has been telling you to go back to school, okay? And you're like, okay, I tried school a few years ago, and I was supposed to be going to school for nursing, right? So you're like, okay, God has been telling me to go back to school, apply. So I go and apply. Cool, they asked me what major, and I click nursing. When you get to school and you're like, maybe God just wanted me to get back into school. Maybe I don't have to go into nursing. Don't be afraid for God to move through you in different aspects. Like, what I'm essentially trying to say is that when you get started, you might not end up where you thought you were going to be, because we can never fully see where it is God wants to take us. We just have to get started. I think about David and Goliath, which is one of my favorite books and people in the Bible. David is really an inspirational character or person in the Bible. When he started out, before he even got king, you know, I think it was Saul was like, hey, he told David's dad, bring your sons. And then, you know, his dad didn't even mention him. But then his dad was like, okay, I got one more son. David comes in. Saul's like, okay, boom. Or God is like, oh, okay, David's going to be king. So, you know, David goes about his business and whatever. And, you know, if somebody told me I was going to be queen or something, you know, the attitude would be very different. I'm going to let you know right now. Maybe that's why I'm not queen of nowhere right now. Right now, but the attitude will be different. But David went back into the field, and he was out there with the lions and the bears, and I'm not scared of lions. He was doing all that, baby. He was with Jasmine Sullivan and them, and he was just doing his thing. Mind you, he had been told he's on king, and then he's like, dang, I gotta go and be a rookie. I gotta go be a freshman, and I gotta go and start over and be over here in this field. I want to be in the field, like I want to get in the field, you know, I don't want to be a rookie. I'm the king. But he didn't do that. So he went to the field, and then just randomly he goes, and I believe he was taking his brothers who were in the army, and Saul, he was taking them something, and that's when he saw Goliath. And Goliath was like, oh, y'all weak. Now this is my version of it, okay? You can interpret how you want. But he was like, oh, y'all weak, you know, y'all ain't gonna do nothing, and you know, y'all, your God ain't this and that, blah, blah. And David was like, huh? Is he talking about my God? No, he not. I know he ain't talking about my God. And that's when David began to use his skills that he had while he was in that field, after he was told that he was going to be king of wherever they were at. I don't know what place. But after he used all of those skills that he had conjured up, and he used it to defeat Goliath. I say all of that, and I gave y'all this quick little Bible lesson, because when God gave you that idea, boom, that was like David being told, okay, you're king. God has crowned you, right? Now you gotta go and you gotta be a rookie. You gotta go learn. You gotta, like, for me personally, I had to go learn how to edit. I had to learn how to set up lights. I had to learn how to talk to a camera. I'm still learning how to talk to a camera without having to cut. I have to learn how to still set up lights. I'm still in my field era where I'm learning. And then one day, boom, when you are ready, when it is the perfect time, God will have you go out there and defeat your Goliath. And that is what you are working on. Don't be afraid to be, or I'm not going to say don't be afraid. Let's say be okay with the fact that it might not look how you think it's going to look. I'm sure when God told David that he was going to be king, he didn't think like, oh, I'm going to be back in the field. Or he didn't think, oh, I'm going to have to defeat a man that's 10 feet tall. That's not what he thought. So don't be afraid when things don't go or in the trajectory of how you believe it's going to go. Like, that's essentially what I'm saying. Don't have things lined up to where you can't have God move. Because once that happened, baby, David was, he was king after that. You know, he slayed Goliath. Everybody else was afraid. But here he was, called, chosen, everything like that. He came, he had already been prepared for the battle. So when you get that oomph and that infling, that, what is it? Umpling? Child. My vocabulary is all over. My vocabulary is all over the place right now. But once you get that inkling, there we go. Once you get that inkling to get started, then you will be able to develop yourself, like I mentioned, but you will also be prepared to meet your Goliath. And that is what God is preparing you for. But you can't be crowned king. You can't get to the palace until you get started. You have to first understand, okay, God called me to do this. Okay, boom. So now I gotta just go wherever he leads me. I'm sure David was out there in the fields defeating lions and bears and snakes or whatever for years until he met Goliath. And you just gotta stay down. You gotta develop your person. You gotta become the person that can defeat your Goliath. You have to embody a king. I'm sure when he was just a young boy and his dad had called all his other brothers to come up as king, he was not in that king mindset, but he developed it over time. Give yourself time to develop your gifts. Give yourself time to develop your strengths. Give yourself time to develop the mindset that it takes to manage the blessing that God is trying to give to you. And I said, the same thing happened with me. I had to give myself time during the time where I was off the cameras for 4.5 years. I had to give myself time to develop as a woman. When I made this podcast or this show, I was 20 years old. I went from 20 to 21. In December 2019, I was 21. I'm now 26 years old. There has been a lot that has developed mindset-wise for me. My frontal lobe has developed. I talk about that on my TikTok. But it's just, I see life so much differently. Like before on the podcast or talk show, I would never be talking about the Bible really like that. I wouldn't be using the Bible as a reference. But now I see the Bible as so much more, and so many good references are in the Bible, and I can freely talk about it without feeling like, yeah, like, you know, like, is this a Christian? Am I preaching right now? I can fully talk about it because my mindset is so much more different than it was back then. Give yourself time to develop. Give yourself time to get into the mindset and get into the spirit and have the heart to defeat your Goliath, okay? So once you get started, okay, boom, getting started is really the easy part. We make it seem like it's hard because, you know, it's a land of the unknown. But once you get started, boom, now you gotta have clear and concise goals, but you gotta have enough leeway for God to like guide you to where you need to get to. You can't just be like, oh, if it don't look like this, I'm not gonna do it. Like, no, baby. Once you get started, learn the craft, learn the idea, learn what you need to learn, but leave room for spirit and for the universe or God, whoever you know what I'm saying, you talk to or you praise, leave room for them to work so that they can fully develop and fully get you to where you need to get to. And that is the key to a new mindset. That's the key to success. It's just getting started, being clear and concise, and having a plan. And when you have a clear and concise plan, that is AKA discipline. To be able to get up here every week and make a video, upload the video like I said I would, is discipline. Is literally learning in developing myself is discipline. When David was in that field and he was learning how to slay those animals, that's discipline. And discipline is the key to getting to your success. And the key to success is defeating your Goliath. And yeah, I hope I tied that in all together. And I hope that wasn't too much for y'all. But yeah, if you have time, definitely go look into the story of David and Goliath, because there's such a good message there, and it's a really good message on getting started, but not only getting started, but understanding that once you get started, it might not happen overnight, it might not happen in a year, it might not happen in 2 years, or it may happen in a year, it may happen in 2 years. You really don't know. But how can you know if you don't get started? You know, like time, like I said earlier, time is gonna go by either way. Why not get started and do what you're supposed to be doing, what you're called on this earth to do, right? It sounds simple. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. I included 2 of my movies that I starred in and I also directed in this episode, so go check them out. Reflections is on Tubi and The Inevitable is on YouTube. I'm going to tag them all in the description box. But for real, like, subscribe, share this video, and just get started. And once you get started, let God lead the way for you, okay? I miss y'all, and I'm so happy to be in front of the camera. I will see y'all all for next week. Bye!